Howdy, gang. We are heading to Indiana, grabbing a load coming back to Minnesota, and swinging out of the truck stop here. So let's get on the road. I'll show you where I'm going here. How's that look? Again, trying the new setup here, wondering how this works, or how it looks, sounds, everything like that. Guys, feel free to leave a comment there and let me know what you think. Coming out of Clearwater, Minnesota right now, so this whole mobile thing is pretty new to me, so we're going to find out how well it does. I think it's pretty good. I've done some tests and stuff. I think the mic works pretty good. It's kind of quiet. Doesn't pick up too much background noise. Cameras might have a little bit of a shake to them, but it's going to be interesting to find out when we get on the highway how bad that is. If we can even make out where the heck I'm going. You guys can see the road there. So, jumping on the interstate here. Masher motor. I'm going to swing on down to, on the way out of town, I'm going to swing in to grab a shower, and I don't got to be in Indiana till morning, but I'll be there tonight, and all should be good. So, anyway, that's how it works. Tell you what, I'm going to switch views here, give you guys a little bit better view of what we got going on. So, hey, there's a lot going on in the news. Hearing a lot about Ukraine. Obviously, that's like a never-ending story. Ukraine, they seem to be fighting back pretty hard, according to the media. And, they got their ground troops that are taking rockets and taking out some of these Russian tanks and so forth. And that's pretty interesting. Russia seems to not really be all it was cracked up to be. Their military, a superpower like that. They are a nuclear power. They have nuclear weapons, and obviously we don't want to provoke them into using them. But, boy, I'll tell you, I don't know who their generals are, but they don't seem to be launching a good campaign, because Ukraine is right on them, and they're taking out a lot of their assets right now. So let's get around this Oversize real quick so I'm not choking them in there in the middle lane. I drive Oversize, so I hate it when people just, crunch me in there and stuff. Truck like that, I'd probably be riding the right lane, but the right lane's going to end here in about a half mile to a mile. I think I got a sign coming up here. So, yeah, but anyway, Ukraine, that's pretty cool. And then, of course, we got our fearless administrator leader who really doesn't, it's 2 miles up here. Anyway, he really doesn't really know what he's talking about. I mean, I would not trust, first of all, I'd never trust this guy in war. And I'm talking about our leader and the current occupant of the White House, for what that's worth. But I wouldn't trust him as a commander-in-chief or anything. So he's done some pretty stupid things. Sure don't want to see us going to war over all this stuff, and I sure don't want to see my kid, who is now 18, going to war for that jackass. So, I don't know. I think we just got to pray for our leaders that they make some decent decisions, or, whatever, that it doesn't go too far. But anyway, yeah, so I'm just going to head on down the road here and let you guys take a look at what we got going on, and then I'll probably sign off. Check back later. So, see you in a bit. All right, gang. Yeah, we are experiencing a little turbulence here. Anyway, I just thought I'd check in. Coming into Maple Grove and running into a little bit of traffic. Good thing I don't have a house on the back. Look at this. Look at this guy. Are you sleeping? Huh? I should blow my horn and wake him up. Anyway, just figure I'd check in, and I had a couple of phone calls, and I was talking to my buddy Kurt, and Kurt is in sales, and he deals with industrial wear and so forth, you know, clothing, stuff like that, safety equipment, that type of thing. And we were chatting there for a couple of minutes, and one thing that we were talking about, and I mentioned it to him, and he agrees, is that we are entirely too dependent on Amazon and Walmart. And we put all of our purchasing power into those two particular retailers. And what we're doing when we do that is we're neglecting small town retailers. And I know a lot of people would look at that and say, well, you know, their prices are so expensive. You know, I can get what I'm getting there for a fraction of the price at Walmart. And the reason that Walmart is so much cheaper is because they've grown so much that they can buy in massive volume, where a local mom and pop retailer is unable to do that. So where you might have mom and pop buying 10 cases of T-shirts, Walmart's going to buy 10,000 cases of T-shirts. So that is a real problem for this retailer. There's no way they could compete. When Walmart buys all this stuff from these manufacturers, they are getting a massive discount on the price of that, and therefore their costs are much less, and that's why they can sell stuff that much cheaper. But how did this all come to pass? We've done it to ourselves because we opted to abandon local retailers in exchange for, you know, Walmart. I mean, it wasn't even convenience back then. It was, you know, Walmart, yeah, maybe it was convenience because Walmart had more products and so forth. You have a clothing store, and then you have a Walmart everything store. So people are going to go to the Walmart everything store so they can get anything they need at a cheaper price. But that's allowed them to grow so much, but it has really hurt small town America. And if we do not correct this and actually start supporting small retailers, we are going to be basically submitting to a handful of retailers for the next 100 years. It's going to be Amazon, Walmart, Costco, and that's it. You know what I mean? And when that happens, listen, they are going to control the supply chain. They're going to control everything. And there's nothing really keeping them from raising their prices at that point, or determining, hey, you don't really need, that you no longer need this particular product. We'll just get a cheaper product, you know, some no-name brand of T-shirt or whatever. And they could stop. Either they're going to grind down Hanes T-shirts down to nothing, or Hanes is not going to sell anything at Walmart, and therefore they're not going to sell anything because small-town retailers are no longer buying them. They're out of business. So basically, when you have all of our eggs into 2 or 3 baskets, they pretty much dictate how your future is going to go. And we need to change that ASAP. And what we need is technology solutions that are going to help small retailers compete with, the likes of Walmart and Amazon. And it's going to take technology, a little bit of thinking out of the box. And actually, I have an idea for this that I think could really help them out. And I think it would be a gangbuster idea. And it's not for me to make a lot of money. It's to help out this country, because I do not want to see this country go into bondage. even, any sooner than it has to. We know that in Scripture, we are going into bondage in the last days. And at that time, we're not going to have much of a choice of anything at that time. But, I would like to prolong that as much as possible. We don't want to expedite God's plan. It's just let it play out as it can. But that includes everybody's efforts to try and help small town retailers, help our communities, so forth. And I don't mean communities like a particular type of people. I'm talking about our communities, our local communities, our neighbors. And that includes retailers. So, listen, I don't know. I think everyone ought to be really rethinking where we're putting our money to. Because any one of these people, you look at Amazon, the Amazon will just totally flat out, at some point, they'll censor you. If they don't like what you have or whatever, they're not going to buy it from you, and therefore your product is not going to be available anywhere else except for Amazon and Walmart, and they're not going to buy it. If it's at all, let's say it's political T-shirts or something like that, they're going to say, that doesn't go along with our political views, and you know what I mean? So this is the problem with having everything into the Amazon bucket and the Walmart bucket. We need to start diversifying. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. That was a pretty good conversation there with Kurt. Talk more about it later. But anyway, heading down here 494, southbound Twin Cities. Going to stop by the house and grab a shower, and then we'll head into Wisconsin. Make our way down to Indiana. So, with that said, we'll talk in a bit, all right? Hey, everybody. This is Dave. We're heading to Indiana tonight. Going to go pick up a park model down in, I think it's Woodland Hills. And just figure I got a new setup here for the recording, so we're going to go on down the road here and check it out, see how it sounds, everything like that. But thought I'd share a little bit of what I'm doing with you guys, so let's get going, huh? Let's switch there. You can kind of see where I'm at. Pulling out of the Quick Trip. So, anyway, I used to record when I had a studio in my house, and I sold that house a little over a year ago. So, haven't had a studio since. And really, I haven't done much recording for like a year and a half because I was getting the house ready to sell, and then I sold it, and I just haven't had anywhere to do it. And I just figured, you know what? Why not just do it from the truck? So, I'll take you guys with me. We'll do a little bit of chit-chat, show you a little bit of what I'm doing, and I don't know, you can kind of see where I get to go when I'm hauling these loads. This is not a very exciting trip that I'll be doing here, but I'm going to be running Indiana. It's just coming right back to Minnesota. So, anyway, I'll let you guys just watch the road for a while. Be back shortly. All right, gang. We are in Wisconsin. Figure I'd just spare you the whole rush hour traffic thing. Had to make a pit stop there in Hudson. Now we're back at it down the road here. Coming up on Scales figure if they're open, I'll let you see what that's all about. If they're closed, we'll just keep on rolling. But yeah, traffic was, you know what? It wasn't fun, but I'd take that traffic any day over Chicago, you know, which is where I'll be tomorrow, you know, coming across there. That's terrible. I don't even think I'm going to record there because that would probably just totally confuse me and like, oh, you know, I have to worry about that and then worry about getting run down by a truck trying to take a side of my house off or something like that. So it's got 1 mile to the scale up here, and we'll just see what they're doing at the chicken house. I don't know why they call it that, chicken coop, but it's a trucker thing. Anyway, kind of a gloomy, cloudy day here in Wisconsin. Here, I think I'm going to switch this off here to camera 3. Scene 3, that's a little bit better. Oh, looks like they're closed up. You can see the sign here on the right. Way station closed. Well, maybe you can't. My face is in front of it. But trust me, it's closed. And we'd be taking this exit right here if it wasn't. So, anyway, we're going to mosey down the road. I'm probably going to... I don't have a whole lot to say here today. We're going to pick up that unit tomorrow, and I'll check in with you then. I got to make it down around Chicago tonight. You know, I run out of Milwaukee and head south, so I don't have to worry about any tolls, paying tolls or anything like that. And so I don't like going through Chicago at any time before 9 p.m. I would just much rather deal with it after because the traffic down there is insane. And everyone thinks they're in the Indy 500. In fact, that whole stretch, then I-80 there would call it the Indy 500. But anyway, it's just everyone's in a hurry. And it's really kind of weird because this day and age, it doesn't seem like people really even care if they damage their car or anything like that. It's like they're driving like they're in a video game, like Burnout Revenge or something like that. And that's not good. They think they can respawn at the next, if they wreck it or something like that, they'll respawn and lose a couple points or who knows what. But they just drive 80, 90 miles an hour right in a 55 mile an hour zone. It's like everyone's racing and they don't care who they're cutting off or anything like that. So I don't know. I can't stand going through there in rush hour. Frankly, anytime really. But since I got to do it, I'll do it at night. And then I don't actually have to go through Chicago tomorrow with the house, but I have to go run across I-80, which is south of Chicago. So I run that from, Gary, wherever I get on there, probably Michigan City. And I got to run that all the way to I-39 in LaSalle. So, but that stretch between Gary and Joliet is the worst flipping stretch of I-80 that I go on. I mean, there's some other ones out east that are pretty bad too, but that's a terrible section because you got these highways like I-94, I-90, the toll road, you got I-80 and I-65 all kind of converging into one 80-94 thoroughfare, and it is just crazy traffic, and that just gets everyone uptight, and they just want to blow your doors off and get on down the road. And I frankly just wish I didn't even have to go down there. So it is what it is, but we're gonna keep on down the road. I'll check in with y'all tomorrow, take a look at the unit that we're picking up. It's a little park model. It's about 12 wide, about 40 feet long, and should be pretty cool. So that's about it. We'll talk to y'all later, okay? See ya. All right, gang, here picking up at Woodland Park in Middlebury, Illinois. Let's take a look at our unit here. This is it, 6853. Yeah, there you go. All right, well, let's hook it up and take a look at how it looks. See ya. All right, gang, we are hooked up. Here she is. Nice looking unit, huh? Quick walk around here. Everything's flashing. Good to go. It's about 12 feet wide on this one. I think every one of us needs one of these park models to stick out by a lake. Alright, that's it. We'll see you. Alright, gang, we are hooked up back in the truck. Going to be pulling out of Middlebury, Indiana. This whole area is like the RV capital of the world. So, anyway, let me give you guys some visibility of the road here and see us pulling out of the factory. Got to make our way around South Bend and Elkhart and get back onto 94 there, and that whole stretch 80-94. We call it the jungle because it's like a zoo. I mean, all the traffic and everything. So anyway, we'll make our way here and see how we go. Hopefully we don't have any problems today. Hey, so I wanted to point out something. You guys are watching on camera, you see me getting way over on the shoulder sometimes. That's because the unit I'm hauling is wider than the truck I'm driving. And this one's about 12 feet wide, where the truck's probably 8 feet wide. So sometimes when they're close to this center line coming the other way, or if there's something else going on, I might have to move over onto the shoulder because I'm hanging over. So that's about it. All right, so we're coming up on this exit for Indiana 2 going west. And we do need to go west on 2, but today we're hauling a unit that's a little bit taller than what we would normally haul. This one's about 14 foot 6 inches tall. And at the bottom of the ramp for this exit for 2 going west, it's kind of a clover leaf, a loop. And there's a bridge, so we're going over it in the second here, and that bridge is only about 14.2, so we're about 14.6. What we're going to do is go down to the next exit, and we are going to do what we call the jug handles, right? So what that is basically we're going to go on that one, loop around, and then loop again coming southbound on this road, and we're going to jump on 2 west from the other side of the highway. So, enjoy. All right, gang, so in about a half a mile here, we're going to be coming up on I-94. And if we were going to go east on 94, that would run us up into Michigan and ultimately over to Detroit, which we don't want to go there. Anyway, we are going to go west on 94 here. And now we're about the 40-mile marker into Indiana, and in about 20 miles for west of here, it's going to get pretty busy. So I call this the jungle. Welcome to the jungle every time I jump on this road. So but anyway, I'll show you some of what we got to deal with here. Now, when I get over there by Gary, Indiana, where it does get busy, I'm going to probably be taking up 2 lanes, straddling 2 lanes, because I'm as wide as the lane that we're in, and it's so busy, and there's so much traffic. I just don't want to have another truck sideswipe me, take the side of the house out, and so forth, right? And a lot of these drivers these days really don't even seem to care. They're driving some company truck. Many of them don't even know how to drive. I'm just being honest with you. That's another issue, but got to be careful out here on the road. So, go ahead and enjoy this little part here. All right, gang, we have a scale that's open here, so I'll take you with me right through it. Basically, they just want you to run your trailer across the scale, but sometimes they'll pull you around behind and want to check your paperwork. In my case, they'd probably want to check a permit, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's just something we got to deal with in every state. You know, every state's got scales set up somewhere. Keep people that are too heavy from driving on the roads without a permit. That can wreck the roads. So, all right, enjoy that. Well, they're giving us the bypass lane, so they don't want to weigh our wagon. Sign came in there, said 12 footers, or over 12 feet, take the bypass lane anyway, which is what I would have done anyway. So I'm pretty close to that anyway. I know I'm at least 12 feet, so anyway, thought that was pretty cool. I don't know, that's just something we do all the time, so in this industry. Alright, so getting pretty close to where it's gonna, right about this exit, it gets busy. So I'm gonna have to center up here. We're gonna get into the I-80 stretch here we call the Indy 500, because everyone's driving like a race car driver coming out of Indianapolis and stuff. But and you know, we're going to pick up a couple extra lanes, but I'm going to hold center on two of these lanes because a lot of the right lane, anytime I don't have a shoulder and I'm wider than the lane, or at least as wide as the lane, I pretty much center up because I just don't want anyone coming in and, you know, taking the wall of the house off with their trailer, you know, truck drivers and stuff. But so if I don't have a shoulder, then I'll center up on two lanes. And if I cannot see the shoulder, like you see this truck in front of me here, but I can't see really the shoulder around there. I mean, on a curve it's a little easier, but when we're in a straight line. So if there's someone broken down on the side of the road, I can't see that they're there, and I don't want to get anybody killed, so I grab center. Because if I'm going to hang over one line or the other, it's either that fog line out there on the right or this center line here. And if I can't see that shoulder, then I'm going to take the center line. And as long as I'm taking it, I don't want to share this left lane with anybody else, so I'll just take both lanes. So I just consider it saving lives. Anyway, but we are getting into the busy area. I'll let you guys preview this a little bit. All right, gang. So, hope you enjoyed all that Chicago stuff. Ugh, I don't even like thinking about it. Terrible traffic down there, but now I'm out of the woods here, and I'm still on 80, coming up on LaSalle, Illinois, which is where I'm gonna pick up I-39, head up toward Rockford and up into Wisconsin. So, but I just thought I would check in. So now that I've got all the loading and all that stuff rolling, I'm rolling good and all, I got a few things I could chat about here. Something that's been on my mind that I've been following is I'm hearing a lot of things about food shortages coming up, right? So, and looking in the news and in articles and so forth, we have seen, or I've seen first of all Biden talking about food shortages are like certain. They're definitely coming. And then, like, he imposed these sanctions on Russia, and then he comes out and says it's not going to affect just Russia, it's going to affect the whole world, because Russia and Ukraine are essentially, sorry, flashing this truck over. They're essentially, they produce roughly 30% of the world's wheat supply. You know, and it's like, well, you know, if you knew it was going to hurt this country and the rest of the world, why would you impose these sanctions? Like, what are you going to do? And first of all, are you going to just like beef up like farming, wheat farming or something like that? The farming that is going on over there is not even at harvest until fall. So I don't know how it's actually, the price is going to go up at this point. So I don't know if that's just a scare type thing, you know, throw a little more fear into everybody. But what I have found is when they, you know, government starts talking about these things are things that are definitely going to be coming to pass, because, and it may not be by accident, it may not just be they're forecasting this because of sanctions and the war. No, they're planning it. They're planning on stifling our food supply. And why would they do that? Because they want to get us on board with their system. Remember, the beast system is a commerce-based system. And if you do not have their whatever food passport or whatever monetary method of payment, you're not going to be able to buy or sell. And that system, or whatever that vehicle they use to drive us into it, that's going to be the mark of the beast, right? It's just, you cannot buy or sell without it. So I see that there's talk from Biden and the administration about food shortages, and then I'm reading articles, and literally you can read these articles from the USDA, and it's a cookie cutter article for almost every state, that somehow now they have identified bird flu in these farms of free-range chickens, right? So we're killing chickens literally by the millions. These articles will have like 50,000 in this state, 100,000 in that state. You can take a look at it. You have Delaware, Michigan. I think you have Kansas. I think it was Kansas. You had Illinois. You know, just various different ones. And if you really want to check it out, you could check out this YouTube personality called, I want to say it's the Ice Age Farmer. He's got a great channel. This guy is well tuned in with what's going on with farming and the food supply chain, okay? And he is reporting everything I'm telling you right now. But these press releases or articles coming out of the USDA are all the same article. It's just a couple little details are different about, we found this many chickens in this location, we found this many in this location, but the rest of the article is just the same. They're basically killing these chickens off. They're killing our chicken supply off in this country. Why would they be doing that? And these are free-range chickens. They want people to start growing these chickens inside. Well, you know who is growing chickens inside? These massive chicken farms, factory farms like Purdue and Tyson and so forth. But these other chicken farms that are free range, no, they want to knock them out of the competition. Those would be like organic type chickens, right? So they want to get them out because they are competition for these bigger companies, these bigger factory farms. They want us more reliant on these farms. And you know, the next thing that's coming is going to be pork and beef and all that, right? And you know that when this whole COVID fiasco broke out in 2020, and I have posted a video of this guy. His name is Shad, and I can't remember his last name, but Shad Sullivan, that's what it is. He's a farmer, and I think he might, not really sure if he's a beef or a pork farmer, but he, back in early 2020, he was saying, listen, they are shutting our farms down. They're shutting the factories where we process our animals, right? And because of that, the residual effect is now these farmers can't get rid of these animals and they don't have enough food to feed them. So you're either going to starve them or starve all of them, or you're going to have to destroy half of them, you know, the half that was going to go into production. So this is all because of, you know, COVID and safety, that they had to shut down these factories and prevent meat from being processed. And this, again, this is how they are going to control the food supply. And then you look at the fact that Bill Gates and other companies are buying up in mass quantities farmland, but they're not farming it. What they're doing is just buying it up and letting it go idle. And so why would they even do that? Except Bill Gates does have an interest in what do they call synthetic meat or meatless meat or whatever. And if he can control the food market, that gives him more business. You see how that works? So really, this whole thing essentially is like racketeering. And I think all of these people that are doing this, whether they're in Congress, in these big corporations, by the way, I'm on I-39, that was the ramp there, but Congress and these corporations that are involved in this type of thing all ought to be brought up on racketeering charges and, you know, basically indicted and face a tribunal, because you are basically harming everybody in the country by what you're doing. And you're doing it for your own profit, your own gain. These are all profiteers. And this is what we need to stand up against. So if you are a farmer, I would like to hear from you. And I want to know how all of this BS has affected you and your farm. And I know there's dairy farms and there's crop farms and so forth. You had back then in 2020, dairy farms, they had to basically dump milk out in the field, like half their milk supply, because they would not allow it to be processed in a processing plant, right? Because milk, these dairy farmers actually ship all this milk off, and that's where they pasteurize it and all that at a factory. And they weren't taking any of that stuff. So these farmers had to dump this milk out because it was going to go bad anyway. And so you're basically dumping out the supply. Then you have government paying farmers to not produce because they say, well, we need to control the market, right? So they're paying them, they're subsidizing them to not produce crops or, you know, cattle or whatever, which is total BS. Listen, I know that we need to have an equalized market, but the way we equalize a market is through the free market system, not through government intervention. Like, those people in government know anything about the private sector, like they know anything about business. They don't. And you know what? When you have a free market, you're going to have some winners and you're going to have some losers. That's just how it works. But these losers then obviously have to get into something else, or they need to do something to be competitive. But that is how we keep prices down. But when we have the government basically creating regulations to force out competition, fence out the competition of their crony corporate factory farms, we have corruption. And that is what we need to stand against. We need to probably start buying directly from these other farms that are being shaken down by the corporations and by the government. Buy directly from them, support them, screw these other ones. All right, that's how we're going to get through what we're going to get through here, if we even get through it. It is so late in the day right now. It's so late in the day. I don't even know if any of this can be reversed. There's so much power and corruption with these people right now that they basically have destroyed all their competition. And these people, I'll tell you what, judgment day cometh. They are going to pay for their crimes, for what they have done. This country is based on competition, all right? Competition, capitalism, free market capitalism, not crony corporatism, which is what we have right now. And people say, oh, see, capitalism doesn't work. We need communism. No, capitalism isn't even given a chance in this country. It was at one time, but once government and the money changers got involved, it all got screwed up. It was picking winners or losers. Do you remember Solyndra? $500 million coming from Obama to Solyndra. Where did that go? All these solar panels. Never transpired. The CEOs took golden parachutes. That $500 million went to pay them, and they were out of business. That's how this whole thing works. As far as these repressive, I would say leftists, but there's even people on the right. So I would say the repressive ruling class and the rest of us, to them, we are nothing but cattle. And to tell you what, this cow here, I say we got to stand up against that farmer. In fact, I don't know if you've ever watched this or not, but I did watch it. There's a cartoon. It's actually, I think it's called, what is it? Animal Farm. You got to seriously check this out. And these are where these animals are standing up against their owner, the farmer. But when they finally do take control, now you have the animals fighting the other animals. It's just a crazy movie. You know, it's probably an hour and a half, 2 hours long, but it's pretty good and it's eye-opening. So go check out Animal Farm. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to say food production, keep an eye on what's going on because they are going to slow down food production. They're already doing it through the supply chain. They are interrupting various portions of the supply chain. And, I mean, look at how they're making, really, the price of diesel going up. There's no reason for this right now. I mean, you know that Biden, all he would have to do is say to the Saudis, hey, start pumping, or we're going to start pumping, and we're going to starve you. We won't buy from you for 10 years. That would solve everything. But you know what? This guy, this chairman, Biden, I call him that because that's all he is. He was stuck into power there through an illegal election. But anyway, he's a communist. That's why I call him Chairman Biden. He is weak. He will not talk to the Saudis the way he should. He will not put his foot down and say, here's what we need to do for the American people. Want to know why? Because he is not for the American people. He is for himself, his buddies. They are securing their futures in the global system right now. And you and I, we are going to be slaves in that system. So as long as I can help it and avoid it, I am not going to take part in anything that they're doing. And honestly, if I have to, I would rather starve than have anything to do with what they're doing. Because that beast system, that is coming. There is a great judgment coming against those that do take part and support that system. I would rather be, I would rather look good in the eyes of God and terrible in the eyes of people than the other way around. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. Keep an eye on food production. I would start stocking up. Don't do it. Just don't go hoard everything at one time. Just listen, when you're at like a store, buy a case of canned stuff. Buy a case of canned veggies or two. Fill up a cart. Most people would be like, oh, no big deal. It's one cart. If you walk out of there with 3 carts, then they're going to be like, oh, you're hoarding. You know, if you can get and I know we should, got to get in the left lane here. Bumpy road right there. Right here. So that's why I'm in this lane. Anyway, I know that we should really stem back our purchasing to these mega retailers. And I mentioned Walmart and Amazon. Well, Sam's Club is part of Walmart, and Costco is another one. But at this time, there is no alternative. You know, other businesses are going under. We do need to support them. But if you need to take care of you and your family first. So if you can get a Sam's Club membership for a year, it's $35, I think. You would easily pay for it in one visit. You would load up on all your bulk food, storage, and everything like that. You can get dried rice, pintos, whatever. Store them in Mylar bags inside of buckets with some oxygen absorbers, and that's it. Those are good for 25 years. If you got to get some canned goods or whatever, do it then. You know, every time you're at Walmart, go get a case or 2 or 3 of vegetables or canned meat. Listen, they're attacking meat. So I would start buying up some canned meat. Don't tell everybody about it. Let the woke and the sleeping just continue on. There's nothing we can do about them. You have to take care of yourself and your family. So go start stocking up on some of that. You can get a 4-pack of canned chicken for less than $10, and it's pretty good stuff. It's cubed chicken. You can put it on salads, whatever, and that it'll last for years, right? In cans, so at least a couple of years. And remember, what we're trying to do is get enough food for like a 5-month supply. You know, to get us through those very tumultuous tempting end times, right? So anyway, that's what I would recommend. And don't forget to get regular supplies too. If the stores are cleaned out, let's just say, and because they are talking about a great reset, and if they actually follow through, they are going to make sure every store is emptied out, and that you're going to have to get on board with them and their food wagon when it comes around. They're going to start rationing food to you and so on and so forth. And this is all what lays the foundation for the Antichrist. Because he's going to come around and he's like, oh, we don't have to do that anymore. We have plenty of food. Here you go. He's going to make sure there's a chicken in every pot, right? So that's how he operates. We do not want to take part with him. So I had to get over here real quick. I got an RV behind me there that was in that left lane, but I got this guy on the shoulder. You can see him here. And I'm hanging over the shoulder, so nothing I can do about it. That I didn't cut him off, so no big deal. But anyway, hey, that's the message for today. I'll check in a little bit later down the road. Let you know how I'm doing with this unit I'm pulling back. It's riding pretty good. Just so you know, I got a camera mounted underneath the house that I'm towing, so I can keep an eye on all the tires. And it's up here on the dashboard. Someday I'll take a picture of that and show it to you. But anyway, unit's pulling pretty good. I'm probably an hour and a half out of Wisconsin. Going to make it up to Danbury tonight, camp out there, run it in first thing in the morning over to Waukon, Minnesota. At this, it's kind of an RV park right off Lake Mille Lacs. Very cool place. And it's almost that time of year that they're going to open it up, and it's going to be chaos in there, but good chaos, you know. So, all right, I'll let you see this RV. He's coming around me. I'll back out of it and let him around. There you go. That's a big... Oh, he's got a car on the back. Yeah, don't come over yet. You still got a car there, bro. All right, I'll flash him over. All right, so anyway, gang, hey, that was the message for today. That's my sermon. I don't know if that's what I would call it, but that's my message for today. Listen, don't be dumb. Be very smart. Be wiser than the serpent. Be wise. Start loading up on some supplies. If you have, especially if you have females in the house, get some, female supplies. We don't think about that normally as men, right? And I guess now men and women, you can't tell the difference because they identify different. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Make sure you have supplies for whoever your loved ones that might show up at your house when that time comes. They are going to be hurting, and we're going to need to take them in. And this is what we're here for. So anyway, that's about it. So, hey, we'll talk later. I'll let you check out a little more of the road there, and I'll catch up with you in a bit. All right, gang, we're going to jump off here in Madison grab a little bit of fuel. Having a problem with my fuel gauge on here, but I can see how many gallons I've consumed, and I'm probably getting to the point where I want to top my tanks off. So grabbing them down here at the exit 126. We've got a quick trip up here, and we'll see if we can get some fuel on. I've never been into this one here. I just want to make sure I don't have any issues. And if I do have issues, you're going to witness it. So there you go. Hang tight. Well, we got a few trucks at the pump already fueling up. I should be able to get this unit through the pumps. I usually can, so it's pretty small. But, yeah, I got to wait in line here until one of these guys moves. I don't know why they're taking... That one on the left there, he's not even fueling up. Well, it looks like he's getting ready to move. All right, so we'll check back in a little bit here when we're back on the road. See ya. All right, gang, we are fueled up in DeForest, and we're going to pull on out, get back on the big road. Make sure no one hits my house on the way out of here, or I don't hit anything else. There's really no one in the way, so we're good. Anyway, yeah, actually pretty nice quick trip there. Room for, I think they got 3 pumps at least for trucks. That's not bad. Nice long stretch to get out here. Got a little lunch I'm going to eat as soon as I get on the road here. And that's it. So I'll let you guys watch. All right, gang, we're in Chautauqua, Wisconsin, and I had to pull over here and put some. It's going to be dark here soon, so I had to put some side lights on the trailer. Otherwise, I can't run at night. But you can run up to 12 feet wide in Wisconsin with lights on the side of the unit. So that's what I did. Anyway, just pulling out of the rest area here, and I don't know, I guess I shared that information with you just so you kind of know a little bit more about what we got to do. So maybe you find it interesting, maybe not. Anyway, back to the road. Hey gang, we are parked in Danbury tonight. Had a little bit of weather coming in, but I am parked. Had a little icy roads too. Had to pull over earlier and throw a couple side lights on, but that got me to where I'm going, an extra 2 hours up the road, so that's really good. Anyway, we're going to call it a night. Pick it up tomorrow morning and head on over and make delivery. Probably looking at about an hour and a half from delivery, so should be cool. Anyway, we'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya. Alright gang, I wanted to show you something here real quick. I actually already went through this and realized I wasn't recording. So anyway, it's down here. I had all of this ice packed in around the tongue of the house. You can see that it's all ice hanging out there. This is my camera cable, so I had to make sure I get that freed up. Take a walk over here. Yeah, that's just like in the last, well, it was like the first 30 miles of this morning. So I think you're gonna have to let that melt. Anyway, so let's take a walk around here real quick. This here is my truck, and we call her Pretty. Say hi, Pretty. She's a good truck. Anyway, that's the unit right there. Everything else looks pretty good. It's just a little dirty from all the weather. Tires held up good. Everything's looking good back there. So that's it. And this is kind of the park. There's a lot of, over in the trees over there, the other side of that building, there's a couple blocks of development there. But it's a pretty nice RV park. I mean, you can see these park models. They go all the way down the road there. Both sides. Anyway, pretty popular place. And on the other side of those trees behind the houses there, that's Lake Mille Lacs. So alright, so I'll strip this unit down and we'll get her ready to go. Well, get her unhooked.